Here we're going.
All right.
Welcome back! Welcome back to our channel. As you can see.
Welcome back.
Welcome back!
Me. I've been gone for about 2.5 weeks from being in Florida.
We're just jumping right in there, weren't
Yeah.
you? Man. Yes. So that's exactly what happened. He's back home from being...
Wait. Weren't you in Florida?
I was in Florida.
For how long?
Let's rewind. So, as soon as I got back from our trip in Universal, we're bringing out all the chaotic energy right now, right? This is like ADHD meets caffeine meets... So yeah, I was on vacation in Universal in Florida for a week, in the first week of July, right? It was great. I was on vacation. I get back, like, that day.
You had so much fun.
I had so much fun. I slept, I ate, I showered twice a day, you guys. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I came home. And then I guess you got jealous. And then you were decided, oh, I need to go to Florida.
Yeah, I just decided I was going to go to Florida and then have my own trip, and...
You just didn't come back.
Just didn't come back. 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, but really what happened was that as soon as I got home...
So as soon as I got home, my brother, I think, contacted me.
Somebody
contacted
multiple family members were.
Yeah, multiple family members let me know that they were concerned about my dad, and my brother contacted me too, and then we both coordinated to plan to, we would both fly out to Florida because he was doing bad by all reports. They were saying that he may not make it. So
let's talk first. What's going on with your dad? Like, up until this point, what had been going on?
So for the last 13 years, he's been dealing with different forms of cancer. So I mean, yeah, he's had
cancer treatments,
and then cancer that metastasized and like moved to other regions. But I mean, he's been dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
So he's been doing that for 13 years. Been through all the experimental treatments
for liver cancer.
For his liver cancer, yeah.
And most recently, it turned into...
Well, the separate cancer he had in his throat.
Yeah.
So he's been getting radiation treatments for his throat, and
which is what the current issue was, and
yeah. So he hasn't been able to. So like before, like anything happened, before he went to the hospital or anything like that, he had not eaten in 10 days. So I mean.
Why was that?
Because he just could not get anything down.
So because of the radiation that they were doing. So again, the throat cancer was new. So they started doing radiation treatments on that. And basically, I think you said he had like, what, 39 treatments?
39 treatments to do.
Done. And basically radiation, like, burns the area. So his throat was just
so I mean,
raw.
you could see like his like skin and everything like that. It was like
burned.
Like it was like ripping. Yeah, it was bad.
So it hurt to eat.
Hurt to eat, hurt to swallow. Water was near impossible when I was there. Yeah. He was just, at that point not eating or like and hardly drinking anything for 10 days. That will pretty much almost kill anybody.
Yeah.
So I mean, and like he was wearing like these tiny shorts while going into the doctor's office, like hopefully because like he was like, look how small I am, like can like somebody like notice that something's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what his wife was telling me.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was wearing revealing clothes on purpose so they could see how small he was.
Yeah, and hopefully get some
help.
Yeah.
Or like say like, hey, maybe we should do something different or whatever.
Yeah.
So it ended up, became like unsafe, and like he was in bed, he was unresponsive to like being shaken and stuff like that, and so
this is all before you got there.
It's all before I got there. It was time for him to go to the hospital. So he'd been in the hospital for probably like a day
before you got there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my brother got there a few hours before I got there, so he was up at the hospital, and then I got in a few hours later, and then we went straight from the airport and then got to the hospital. And that was, luckily I work in the medical field. I've been around quite a bit of different patients in hard places. So, like, it didn't, like...
You knew what to expect.
I knew what to expect. It wasn't
what you were used to seeing from your dad, but you knew...
Yeah, I knew how bad it could be and, like, all that. So it wasn't... But, I mean, still, it was hard seeing him like that. It wasn't... Yeah.
I know the first few days there, he wasn't really responsive at all. He was very out of it, very...
Like, at first, he was very lethargic to the point where, like, when he, like, said hey to me, I was like... I don't really know if you... if you're comprehending that I'm actually here or not. But, as soon as they had got the IV going, got him some fluids because he was severely dehydrated.
And once he got fluids and he started looking a lot better, perking up a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, acting more like himself.
Yeah, so... Yeah, his mind was definitely...
affected from the lack of
nutrition, lack of just dehydration. So once he got the fluids in, he was able to focus up a bit more and,
be more coherent.
Yeah, and he was making sense, and he was back to being his sharp old self.
So the whole reason that you were in the hospital to begin with was to get a feeding tube placed.
Yeah, so they were trying to get a feeding tube placed.
And that just ended up not happening.
Yeah, so when you go in for a feeding tube, generally it takes about, like, a day.
It's quick.
Maybe the second day, just depending on, like, the scheduling of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're scheduled, it should be fairly quick. But if it's, like, in his case, it was more of a, hey, we're putting you in the hospital, and, like, he wasn't on any schedule to be having it done. So yeah, we're like, okay, so it'll probably be the next day. So that's when it was planned for. And
so they go in, they try to do it.
Yeah.
They said they couldn't do it.
Yeah, they were like, well, definitely need a CT scan. So they do the CT scan, and then they see that all the enlarged liver is pushing his organs up into his chest. And that becomes dangerous because of the lungs, like, part of his colon was, like, up towards the top too, so they were like, oh, well, we can't pierce that because if we do, he'll go septic, or if you pierce the lung, that's also not good. Because
of the liver cancer, his liver was so enlarged that it just took up most of the abdominal cavity.
Yeah.
And pushed everything else out of the way to the point where accessing the stomach became...
Yeah. So the plan was go through the abdominal wall at first. Couldn't do that, so then they were like, well, maybe we can hit it from the ribs. But then based on the CT scan, they're like, well, we can't do that. So then they were like, we'll go with an endoscope and look down and put a light in a balloon, and maybe they could help guide it. But then the GI doctor said everything is too smushed in there, and he was just like all the weight that he had lost and everything like that, everything was just like so tight in there that nothing was going to
the benefit didn't outweigh the risks at that point.
It was just it might have been able to be done, but I mean he could have also not made it off the table, so that wasn't
and all of this took place over multiple days. Like, nothing is quick in the hospital.
So
it's like what should have been so it should have been just like a day or two there, get in, get out, get a feeding tube, go home, turn into a week in the hospital, trying to coordinate with different doctors, getting everyone's schedules.
So I was actually supposed to go home before my brother. So like I was scheduled to go home like on
the 25th
of July, right?
Yes.
The 25th of July, and he was going home on the 27th, and then like we kept on running into these issues, so I ended up
canceled his flight.
Canceled my flight, and so but we thought that, whatever the outcome was, surely we would be home by the time, like, my brother went home. Mm-hmm. No.
So your brother still ended up leaving on the 27th.
Yeah, he left on the 27th because, prior engagements, life.
Right. He had a family and job and life
Yeah.
to get back to.
Yeah. Well, you know, his wife actually came with him.
And their 3 young kids?
No, just
Okay. Just making sure.
But yeah. So unfortunately, like, you know, they all had to leave, and it was like me and Irene, his wife, coming to the hospital. So
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't leave until, like, you were there all day.
All day until like, from like, you know, like 9 o'clock all the way until like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of
until like they had everything done. Sometimes it would be past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of what you were doing there, I think, was just advocating too, like making sure things are getting done the way they're supposed to. Because I mean, when you're that weak, you're not in a position to advocate for yourself, especially if you're alone.
Yeah, and sometimes I mean, like, you know, when somebody's used to being able to do things for themselves and stuff,
you don't want to admit that you need help.
Yeah, it's
hard to accept it,
and that can be very unsafe when you.
Yes, it can.
Can't ask for help.
Yeah.
But I mean, he got to the point where like he was asking for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're in the hospital for a week. He's super, super weak, looking horrible when you first get there, to the point where, I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but they were thinking that he wouldn't even make it.
Yeah. So I mean,
like, that was the information that we were receiving before we even got there.
Yeah, I think
it was so bad.
Probably like 48 hours any longer. If he wasn't put in the hospital, he probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good that
good timing then.
Yeah, that they got him up there and they weren't messing around anymore.
Yeah. Even though they didn't actually end up doing the feeding tube, but you were able to, and your family was able to encourage him to eat enough or hydrate enough.
Yeah.
To regain some of that strength.
Yeah, so once he started recovering from the radiation a little bit, he was able to start to drink water, because every single sip of water when radiation was going on, it was like pure agony trying to just get one gulp down. So that's part of the reason he got so dehydrated and like wasn't able to eat anything for 10 days before he got.
So yeah, between just the actual burns from radiation and the fact that it completely takes away your taste or makes things taste horrible.
Yeah,
eating was just.
So yeah, I mean, he's diabetic, so they were trying to give him like, you know, sugar-free everything.
Yeah.
So he would be like, "There's no sugar in this, and I can't taste it." So he would try to like add in like a bunch of like sweetener packages and stuff like that, and he was like, "Oh, this is the wrong sweetener." And then you give him like they didn't have any other sweeteners, so like we brought him different sweeteners, and then he was like, "No, this is bad too." So they finally like all right, we need to get him to eat something. So like they just gave him sugar, like something that just like was sugared up, and then he was like, "No, this has no sugar." He just couldn't taste anything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about the actual sugar or anything like that. He just couldn't taste anything.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what he was getting.
Yeah. But he started eating more, started getting stronger. I think he was like 100 pounds when he got to the hospital.
100 pounds when he got to the hospital.
Skin and bones.
Yeah. So eventually when we got him to get a PICC line, so at least that way he wouldn't get dehydrated again when he left the hospital. So we finally leave the hospital.
After a week.
And all the family's gone.
Everyone's gone. It's just him there now.
Yeah, so I take him home from the hospital and, you know, to just struggle, you know, getting into the house and everything.
Because he's still incredibly weak. He's not able to really move on his own at all.
Wouldn't be able to use a walker, wouldn't really be able to stand up on his own. So I'm like pretty much like carrying him into the house because, you know, doesn't have like a wheelchair yet at this point, and still doesn't, but he was too weak to make it into the house, so I pretty much just had to pick him up and then get him in there. And, you know, when you're taking care of anybody, I mean, who needs like care like around the clock, there's like things that you gotta do that you pretty much gotta be like, you can't be uncomfortable with any situation because you better get comfortable real fast.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing like full care.
Full care, yeah.
Like all hygiene needs, everything like that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever he needed,
You just gotta do.
you just gotta do it. And
Don't.
the longer you try to like make it weird or anything like that, that's dumb. But I mean, because
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes it
Uncomfortable.
It makes it uncomfortable for the person that you're taking care of. It makes
Nobody wants to be taken
Yeah.
care of.
Yeah.
Right?
In,
Like,
in the
nobody
first
wants
place, so just
that.
kind of
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Get over that and just do it.
Yeah. I've had experiences like that.
Yeah. I've had them too. You had to take care of me once.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't like that memory.
Yeah.
I choose to remember it as Derek got his appendix taken out, and then we went to see all 8 Harry Potter movies in the IMAX theater because they were replaying them. And it happened to be very bad timing that his appendix was getting taken out because Harry Potter was playing. So we made it to most of those.
Yeah. But,
I choose to remember that part of the story.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when we got married. I was very much like, you know, because I already
Emphasized.
knew. I knew that you had
Some health stuff. We didn't know. We had no idea what it would turn into, but we knew I lived my whole life with a lot of medical issues and surgeries, like 10 at least orthopedic surgeries up until that point.
Yeah, so I was very much in sickness and in health.
Yeah, during our vows, he emphasized in sickness and in health. So I appreciated that.
But it turned out like I was the first one that needed to be hospitalized after we got married.
And I was pregnant with our son at the time.
Were you?
Yeah,
Oh.
I was pregnant with him. I was like 6 months pregnant. It was in October.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was like, I hope I don't go into labor.
Yeah, I never had surgery before, so I was like, I never knew how bad it was.
Mm-hmm. And I'm over here,
You know.
got major surgeries about so many times.
Yeah.
Like, cut it out.
Good.
You're fine.
You're fine.
You just had a little teeny tiny organ taken out of you.
Yeah, get out of bed. You're fine.
We're going to see Harry Potter.
You better get well. So.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. You know, even my dad, he was like, he's had major surgeries and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and he was willing. He was willing to have major surgery just to put a feeding tube in, and I was like,
so he was not ready to stop fighting. He was still at the mindset of whatever you got, throw it at me. I'm not done. We're doing this. Let's go.
yeah. And me with my surgery, I'm like, are you sure this is what you want to do?
It's like I can't take that pain medicine anymore. That did not feel good.
No, I'll never.
No,
pain medicine again.
I never do.
That was horrible.
I never do. It's just that's a different video.
Yeah. It's like, I'd rather be in that pain than have that medicine.
And I
That was
have.
bad.
And I have. But so yeah, for him to get to that point of needing help when he's already been through so much and hasn't needed that level of care.
Yeah.
Ever.
So I mean, yeah, ever. He's had surgeries in the past, but I think like even with those.
He started out stronger.
Yeah, I think even with those, he had like a bit of leg strength. I mean, like, yeah, he had like surgery up here, but I think that he still had like leg strength and even like arm strength too. So I mean, he was able to shimmy.
Yeah.
but
Just
this one,
there's nothing.
he had no leg strength, no upper arm strength. So like, just moving in the hospital bed was. Like, he hadn't even had, like, a surgery or anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
this was just nothing.
This was just, I mean, like, he had
the
radiation stuff going on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like...
He went through...
It's not like he had a procedure. I mean, not like he had, like, a surgery or something like that and he was, like, recovering from it.
This was just the radiation...
And how weak he was.
And,
Not eating and not being dehydrated. He couldn't... Like, he was having a hard time just, like, moving, getting him, like... scooted up the bed or sitting up or anything like that. He was having a lot of trouble with that.
So you took on full caregiver mode, like 100%. Cooking, cleaning, making sure... This what he said before. He said, I was cooking, cleaning, making sure everybody gets to their appointments. And I said, oh, that sounds like a lot of what I do around here. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, making sure they get to their appointments.
Yeah. Making sure everybody gets dressed.
Yeah.
Hygiene and all that.
Yeah.
Just making sure that everything gets done. So, and I'm lucky that my wife, was
So supportive.
So supportive, and she let me, you know, be there longer than was anticipated, because I thought I was just going to be there for
less than a week.
5
days.
Like 5 days. And then it turned out to be like 2.5 weeks.
I wasn't going to tell him to come home. You weren't going to hear that come out of my mouth.
But
he had to make the decision when he's on his own.
Yeah, so we're just trying to make sure that he was okay.
Yeah.
To a decent enough point where,
safe.
like, yeah.
It's like, because there was no one there but him and his wife, and they're both, you know.
They're both have.
She's not capable of taking care of him to the degree physically that might be necessary, like literally lifting him up or like helping him just move around.
Yeah. And I mean, if he falls down or something like that, then
somebody's got to be able to get him back up or make, you know.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot that.
Luckily, we didn't have any falls.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was plenty of times where like he could have went down. So I mean, there's.
Got lucky.
There's one time. This was like probably like 2 days or a day before we were coming home, or I was coming home. But so we had to, you know, help him out of the car, try to like get him to walk into a bank, and this bank only had like this like little rock path.
Oh no!
And and I was like, Dad, I think we should just like walk completely around, because I don't think I don't feel like you should walk on that.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I think I can.
Yeah.
So I was helping him walk on there, and basically I just had to like.
Yeah. Full on
like grab him because he was gonna go down.
That's so scary.
Yeah, and so I was like, all right, let's just get past it. He was like, let's go around when we get back out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you get home from the hospital, right? That's about a week. You go home. You restart radiation pretty much immediately, because I think you went home.
Yeah, it was pretty much immediately.
You went home, I think, on like Friday or Saturday, and then he started radiation that Monday. So what happened then? Tell us.
So he had no strength that first day, nothing. So pretty like max assist pretty much like the whole time, and the next day, like a tiny bit better. Like he was becoming a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
And like trying to move around. He was scared before, because I guess like, you know, doing something could be like the last ounce of his strength and he would be like done.
Yeah.
So he was getting more confidence and like being able to actually push against the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was helpful. But he was still very weak, so there wasn't any like getting up by himself or anything like that. So the third day in, like, you know, during this progression, he's eating more, he's drinking more, so he's steadily like getting better bit by bit. And so we keep on going, and then we call the office and let him know that he's like out of the hospital, and like they pretty much
able to restart radiation.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, they pretty much said like, you know, he took a break from it, which isn't uncommon because people have issues, they have burns or whatever.
Yeah. So
like sometimes they'll have to stop radiation, but ideally, you know, you run through the whole course and it's done.
Yeah.
So, but he had to take a break because he was not faring well. So, but as soon as he was out, they're like, yeah, we want him back here on Monday. So that was the plan. And it had always been the plan to get the feeding tube and then restart treatment.
Just took longer than.
Yeah, it just took longer than, which I mean was good in the fact that he was able to heal,
recover, heal, get stronger.
Yeah, so he was able to keep on getting the nutrition that he needs and hydration that he needs by eating and drinking. But once he started radiation again, we knew that like he would be in the same boat again.
Yeah, very quickly.
So luckily we had the PICC line from the hospital so he could get hydration whenever he needed it. And then he was able to to eat and drink in the meantime. So we were really trying to like bulk up before we started radiation again. So like it was constant like drink this, eat this.
Yeah.
And
really forcing it.
Yeah.
I think you said he gained like what 16 pounds back?
He gained 16 pounds. So
pretty good.
So like he was in the hospital for a week and then and we came home like Saturday or Sunday or whatever. So like by Wednesday when we actually saw the doctors, he was up 16 pounds.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, because like we weren't sure he was going to be able to gain anything back, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was good. So everything was looking up. Like he was getting stronger every day, eating more, drinking more. But he had this like weird like swelling going on in his feet and legs, and we were like, well, you know, we've been monitoring your sodium, we've been monitoring your liquid intake and all that, and it wasn't like anything crazy excessive. Because I mean, yes, we want him to be hydrated, but we weren't trying to like, you know, overdo it either.
Yeah, there's a balance.
There's a balance to it.
Find the balance.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're not eating and you're just like drinking a ton, that's not good either.
You throw off your electrolytes.
Yeah, so we were trying to keep everything in a good balance, and then trying to elevate his feet up, trying to even like, you know, like massage his legs, his feet, and every day his feet were getting bigger. We tried compression socks, and they were just like, they kept on growing. So we finally see the doctor on Wednesday. We see two doctors on Wednesday. One's his radiation doctor, who says like, hey, if you're willing to fight, we'll keep on fighting it with you, so we can keep on doing radiation. So my dad's gung-ho about doing treatment, so that's what he wants to do. We're doing it. Then we go see his actual cancer doctor that he's been with for the, like 11 years of the 13 that he's had cancer. And he says what we didn't want to hear, but he was like, the swelling in the feet, you can tell that it's not caused by like any kind of like extra fluid or whatever, because when you touch it, it was hard to the touch. So he was saying that was like a protein buildup, and that happens when the liver is not functioning properly, which his liver cancer has been growing. I think it was like his largest piece of cancer tumor or whatever was like 10 centimeters, and it grew to like 15 centimeters like in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Just from the few CT scans he had.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was growing fast. And so he was saying that was what was presenting the symptoms with his feet and everything. Nothing that we were doing as far as like the sodium or extra liquids. So that was tough, because I mean, we were doing so well, gaining the weight and everything like that, and getting the strength back. But then he said, you're becoming symptomatic from the liver cancer, and he said at this point we have to, you know, we've been dealing with this cancer for 13 years. I think it's time that we go on hospice care. And you know, me and my dad are looking at each other, and we're like, I understand what the doctor's getting at and everything like that, but my dad is still like, is there anything else that we can do?
Yeah.
And you know, that's hard, because we know what the situation is, but you know, as the person
dealing with it,
you know, you still haven't quite accepted it yet.
So you hadn't really accepted it. You still wanted to fight, still wanted to keep going.
Yeah, but so I think, you know, doctor made it known that
this was it.
This was it.
There's nothing else they can do at this point.
He's recommending hospice, and he'll respect his decision if he wants to continue the radiation, because that's his choice to make. Because
we've been fighting for so long.
Yeah, so I mean, they stop radiation on the throat and it metastasize somewhere else, whatever. That's also not good.
Yeah, because I think
But
the risk was it metastasizing to the brain.
yeah,
And obviously, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So his thinking was to prevent that from happening, just beat the throat cancer,
and then
deal with whatever later on.
do what comes. But the doctor is pretty much saying this is liver cancer is advancing so quickly that he doesn't feel like a throat cancer is going to catch up to what's going on in the liver already, though.
Yeah.
So he's saying doesn't recommend continuing the radiation, but he said if you want to finish it, you have 10 more treatments, and then go on to hospice from there. Which he said that they couldn't do radiation
while you're in
hospice.
Because hospice is end of life care, so if you're still fighting.
But there was I found a hospice that had a palliative care program.
Oh, cool.
So they would let you. They would just bill it differently.
Yeah.
They would say that it was for pain.
Yeah.
So his throat cancer is causing him pain, and they were helping that with the radiation. So that was the only difference.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that was the first thing that shook you all up. Like everything that you'd been through up until this point, I feel like that was the moment when you were like.
Yeah, because I told Jackie before I left or whatever that before I left I told you I wonder if anything is gonna shake me or make me feel something at my core.
Yeah.
Whatever I said. And I was prepared to see my dad in the hospital. What they said, he lost a lot of weight and stuff like that. And I was like, I've seen.
Yeah. Just because of your experience with that type of population you know it's not pleasant, but you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean.
And people deal with it every day.
It was rough, but it didn't shake you.
Yeah.
Or shatter you,
Yeah. So, we get there to the hospital, and that was tough to see, being my dad. But I don't think it was until that we heard, because he went through these stages. He was really bad. We weren't sure he was gonna make it, and then all of a sudden he's getting better. He's getting stronger again, and we're working.
You're seeing improvements.
Yeah, and I'm
working so hard.
We're all working so hard to get him to where he needs to be, and we're seeing improvements. And then we get to the doctor's office, and then first one, radiation says, we'll keep fighting as long as you're willing to. Second doctor, his normal cancer doctor, he says that this is the end of the line, pretty much, that we're out of all the experimental treatments, and that he wouldn't recommend doing the radiation anymore, and that this is it. So my dad wants to keep doing the radiation because he thought it would prolong his life as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to tell him not to do it, because like you said, we don't want him to get brain cancer or anything like that. Yeah. But his liver.
At the same point, you want to think about quality of life.
Yeah.
Which is,
and with the liver just growing progressing at such a fast pace now, that I don't know how much time he does have left. And do you want to be able to taste food at least one more time?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So, but I think that's the time where they all felt all the emotions.
Yeah. So yeah, I
think they all went through many stages of grief.
Yes.
During that few day period there.
Yeah. No, we all did, for sure. That's exactly what I was thinking about while we were going through it. I was like, wow.
Here we are. Going through all the stages of grief. Just get through it. Come on.
Yeah. So it took us at least 2 days to finally
process that.
Yeah, be be able to talk normally again. After that. Because it was hard for him, for sure.
Yeah. Because you've been fighting for so long, only to hear for the first time ever that
there's no more treatment. Yeah. It was rough, for sure.
Yeah.
But he pretty much came to terms with it. He's said he's gonna try to keep on doing the radiation. We've been pretty consistent on those appointments. Like we didn't miss one, besides when he was in the hospital.
Yeah, the break.
And then, so he's doing it, going radiation, getting the infusions. We're doing that for a while, and then I think we get to like his number 8, as far as like he needs 8 more radiation treatments, and he's pretty much just like, I don't think I can. Or he said, I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And as far as from like receiving treatment, that's the first time I actually heard him say like,
I don't want to.
This is coming from a person who's like willing to have the open surgery for the feeding tube.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he's never said no to something before. Like,
yeah,
he's like, whatever there is, I want it. Like,
yeah, I think part of it was he was coming to terms with that.
Did the light just change?
Yeah, the light's changing colors back
we
there.
have a lamp. I'm sorry to break this serious moment up, but we have a lamp, and I don't know why, but it changes from a white color to a yellow color just like on its own.
Yeah, it went.
It drives me nuts.
It went to purple for a second, and then like, yeah, it was weird.
Anyway, sorry.
So he had I think he was coming to terms with like how his body was actually feeling, and
because he said he woke up one day just like super weak.
Yeah, so he's never complained about pain. Like, so I mean, like, there's definitely like issues going on that the doctor's like, "Are you sure you're not in pain?" Because I mean, just like from like palpating or whatever, it seems like it'd be painful.
Yeah.
And he said he just kept on saying no, that he wasn't in pain. So it was just a pure like weakness thing for him, and he was So pretty much he was saying that he was getting too weak from it all. And I guess thinking back on it now, just from like where he was at the hospital, that was probably like his lowest point.
Yeah.
So he was afraid to even like approach that again.
Because you don't know if you can come back from that again.
Yeah. I mean, it was...
It's scary for everyone.
Yeah. But,
so that's where we are now. We stopped radiation. I mean, it got to a point, and it was hard. Again, he was gone for a while. It just got...
How long?
2.5 weeks. Almost 3. Almost 3. But we just had to make sure that, everything was in a stable enough place to where he could leave. And I think going into hospice opened up a lot more doors for care. Like, there just be more opportunities for people to help him other than just you. Because, I mean, that's all there was up until that point. And also, he had gotten a little bit stronger.
Yeah, he got a little bit stronger. His only thing that was holding him back was the swelling in the feet and the legs, which isn't going to get better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, because his legs are literally just like weights that he has to move around now. But I mean, that just is life for him now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to a place where you felt like you could finally come home.
Come home, because I mean, hospice care was starting. So I mean, at that point, they're well equipped and like insurance approves things better at that point. So I mean, it was going to be at least from a logistics standpoint a lot easier.
Yeah.
Than what we had going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to like fight to get like railings put into the bathroom and stuff like that. So I mean,
everything is a battle. It's like you're literally in the most dire situation that you could be, and you have to fight for these things still.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have someone advocating for you, to have someone that's just there that knows. Even if you don't know what to do.
They're so worried about like somebody falling, whatever. But then they want to have like such a issue for like fitting in some rails.
It's ridiculous. Like, just be better, healthcare.
Well, I think healthcare is okay. It's
healthcare is including insurance.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, so many frustrations, but
Yeah.
so how are you doing now? He's only been home 24 hours.
Well, I already feel like, you know, like, how's he doing? How's he doing? How's he doing? You know?
Yeah, because you've been in this caretaker mode for the past nearly 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess it is hard to step out of that and not being, like, at the forefront of everything going on.
Yeah.
Now you're back to... Because before he had left, it was so hard to get information. Like, accurate, up-to-date, current, like, true information.
Part of that was him. Because
he was being very... he never really wants to disclose, like...
Yeah.
Exactly how bad things are or whatever. That's just his personality.
Yeah. So, I mean...
It was hard to get information.
Yeah.
We never knew.
Anytime he gets a report from the doctor, maybe like a month or something later you'd hear about it, not in real time.
So it was different being there, getting all that information firsthand, seeing that, and then having to step back out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're just happy that he's getting care now.
Yeah.
And, you know, not completely unsafe in the way that he had been.
Yeah. We're good. Sorry. We've had a lot of camera issues tonight, so we've had to, like, check multiple times because we've had to refilm quite a few times now.
Yeah. And this isn't, like, the easiest subject to talk about.
I know.
And we've been having to refilm
It's like the 4th time. In case you're wondering why we look progressively more tired as this video goes on, we've shot this like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's a 256 gigabyte memory card and there's only 4 clips on it and it keeps saying it's out of space, so I guess I just need to format it when we're done. Anyway. It's been rough for both of us. I'm not going to complain about what I've been through because it doesn't matter.
It matters.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's...
Maybe not for this video, but I mean...
we can talk about that.
We can
make another video about that.
Or just us. We can just talk about it.
We can just communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. Imagine that. But yeah, so I know you've been through a lot, but I'm happy you're home.
Yeah.
For now, anyway. I don't know. I think I heard a rumor before in a clip that is no longer here that you might have to go back.
Yeah, I mean...
Whenever...
Just depending on, like, something else happens. Something will eventually happen. Just...
Yeah, because he didn't want to come home. I was under the impression, correctly, that he wanted to just stay there indefinitely. Right? I mean, I feel like you had conflicting emotions on it.
So I think I wanted to stay there until he got better, but realistically, that may not come to a point where like he's just like better. I think he just has to have care in place.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of It's hard being, obviously Derek's position is hard, but it's hard for me in a sense that I know what I'm thinking and I can see things from a more realistic and less emotional point of view. So it's hard for me to say what realistically is going to happen while also trying to be gentle with feelings, if you know what I mean. Like, so I know that you wanted to stay there until things got better, but from where I'm sitting, they're not going to get better, so you can't wait.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
So I think
it's hard knowing that and knowing how to say it gently, but also saying what needs to be said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've struggled with that, and I hope I did a good job.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I was going back and forth in my head, like, what needs to happen? Because at first, you know, he wasn't going to go into hospice until he was done with the radiation. But then he said, hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And he said, I think I just want to go into hospice. So it was like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you've done a lot of this radiation, and I feel like with the liver cancer progressing, that you need to focus more on the quality right now.
Yeah.
When he stops radiation, he should be able to
Regain some of that.
Yeah, be able to swallow easier and everything like that. So I mean, I think part of it was, when he was doing radiation, that his throat was starting to get bad again, and then he was getting weaker.
So we're happy that you're home. I know that it's been a rough month.
Yeah. For everybody.
I'm fine.
I'm fine too.
You don't have to lie. We're here to communicate.
No, we're fine.
No, we're here to promote communication and talking about our feelings and letting things out effectively and supportively.
Yeah.
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 So it was a tough month for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Sometimes life gets hard. But you know what? Life goes on.
You know.
You know, you know.
You know, you know.
He doesn't know. We talked about this in another one of those clips, but if you know, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's getting the care that he needs. So I think that was the most important part, that he's getting the care that he needs.
Yeah, I feel like he had to feel okay before he could commit to coming home, because there were so many times he'd be like, oh, I'm coming home Wednesday, coming home Friday, I'll be home, I promise. And every single time he said that, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, sure. But it wasn't until he sent me a screenshot of a flight. He was like, I'm coming home. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, I'm not gonna believe you until you're like here. And so he's here. Like I said, I wasn't telling him anything. He had to go through that journey on his own and come home when he felt like he was ready.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. I feel like I got to take care of him at his lowest. So I mean,
yeah.
I think everything else from here on out will be managed well.
Yeah. I mean, hospice is a scary word, and it's a scary feeling, and it doesn't come with the best. It's not a good thing, but it is a good thing in the sense that you're going to be taken care of. You have so many more options and support, and
somebody's there.
Yeah.
24/7, like a call, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody's there 24/7 for you.
So it is a. Again, I'm struggling with the words. That happens sometimes, but it's as best of a situation as it can be for what it is.
Yeah.
Is what it boils down to.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
That's it. But
he's home. That's the update. I missed you.
I missed you too. Missed the whole family.
Yeah. They're okay. Yeah. For as long as I'll have you, I'm happy you're here.
Yeah. You should have me for a while. Just forever. Whatever.
Alright. Sounds good to me.
Alright.
Let's wrap this up before our card cuts off again.
Yeah.
Alright. Do this again.
Well, thanks for hearing our update.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything you want us to go into in detail more, or anything that got weirdly edited because of this choppy for some reason video, let us know, and we will happily go into or answer any questions that you have, or go into more detail about what it's been like, and
what the health care issues were, how taking care of
America stuff. All right. But yeah, for real, I'm glad he's back. I've missed him. I've missed you. And the next video is going to be like what we did while we were apart, and like how that was, just like that side of it, like just like being apart. That'll be a fun one. I know some of you guys know what it was like for me, but
Oh, we can just talk about what our bad habits were.
we'll get into it. But for now, thanks for hanging out, and let us know if there's anything you want to know or any questions you have or anything like that. But thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we hope that your month has gone better than ours has. And if it hasn't, I'm really sorry, because that probably stinks. But yeah, thank you, and we will hang out with you guys soon. I know there's been a lot of breaks in the videos, but we're done with that. We're back, and we're back at it now. All right.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank God.